Good morning. Welcome to week 90 on tying loose ends. So this week I originally wanted it to be a writing exercise, but when I practiced it, I thought the writing was a little bit distracting, but you can follow however you feel compelled to follow. So if you have pen and paper or your computer, go ahead and be ready to write as anything comes up. And if you find that too distracting, then just stay in the meditation and do the writing after. So tying loose ends, and we're going to do that more in the meditation, but basically it's just we're going to look at areas that are consuming energy for us. So if you had an argument with someone that was not resolved, or something happened years ago that was never talked about, or there's no closing to it. It might also be something that you're working on that you've maybe been working on for a while and it's just not finishing, or maybe a conversation that you wish you could have with someone that you haven't had. Whatever it is, just trust whatever comes up. And just we're going to be with these loose ends and just try to close some of them so that the energy around them is freed. Because whenever there's these loose ends, there's a lot of energy that goes into, even if we're not quite aware at the subconscious level, we're thinking about it and rethinking about it, and it keeps coming up. So if we can close some of those loose ends, then we free that energy and we can focus on what we want more instead. So let's practice that together in meditation now. So I invite you to lower your gaze or close your eyes, whichever is more comfortable for you and minimizes distractions. And just take a deep grounding and centering breath. And all that means is just be fully present to your breath from the very beginning of the inhale to the end of the exhale. Just feel every stage of that breath. And as you do, invite a sense of ease and flow. Just being present right here, right now, not needing to do anything. Just being in this moment. And give yourself permission to release any tension in your body and your mind with each breath. Just letting everything else go. Your to-do list, whatever was happening before, whatever needs to happen after, just letting it all go and just being present. There's nothing but this moment right here, right now. And give yourself permission to sink into a feeling of release and relaxation. Just making sure your feet are flat on the floor and your back is upright but relaxed. Arms resting at your side. And just imagine being in the center of your mind. Just a space in the center of your mind, observing. An observation tower in your mind. And then imagine boarding a glass elevator and very slowly going down through your heart center and continuing to descend to the deepest, quietest part that you can find within. So descending and getting smaller and smaller at the molecular level. As you get deeper or smaller and smaller, notice what you notice around you. Observe what is going on as you descend in this glass elevator. until you settle into a place that is quiet. And present. And from this space, just give yourself permission to allow any loose ends to come up. And you can write them down as they come up, or just reflect on them or be with them. Not so much thinking, but just make a note of these loose ends that come up. And again, by loose ends, I mean maybe an argument that happened years ago or more recently, but it wasn't resolved. Maybe a relationship that slipped away. Someone you still think about. Maybe there's grief or guilt about that relationship. Maybe a project that you've been putting off. Or maybe you lent somebody money and they never paid you back. Just remaining in this deep, quiet space. Imagine yourself sitting in this space and just observing the loose ends that come up. What is consuming your energy? What replays in your mind often? Maybe even things that you're not really aware that the subconscious is replaying in your mind. Allowing it to be visible now from this quiet space. Anything and everything that is replaying in your mind. Anything unresolved. Anything causing anxiety or sadness or anger or shame. What are the loose ends in your life that even though you may not be fully aware are consuming your energy, that could be better spent elsewhere on what you really want instead? And give yourself permission to see loose ends that have been buried for a long time, that you think are buried so deep they're not affecting you. And give yourself permission to let them arise, to observe them, to be aware of them without judgment or criticism or needing to change them in any way. Just want to increase our awareness of where our energy goes. What are the things we focus on that we can't do anything about, that are out of our control? Or maybe that we could do something about. we were aware of the energy it's consuming. We could close it. Maybe we can make a decision to let it go, or to have that conversation, to write that letter, write that book. Or we can decide that right now is not the time. We're willing to let this one go. Or that it's completely out of our control and in the past, and we're willing to let it go. And there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Simply is. And we want to be aware of what is just as it is. We create resistance when we want to change something, sort of pushing against the river. But through acceptance, when there's no need to change, very often the resistance releases and then it does change. What are loose ends that are causing a lot of resistance? Loose ends that are causing a lot of pressure. The need for something to be different. Or loose ends that make you feel stuck in some way. And can you let those loose ends arise without needing to attach yourself to them in any way, without going into story about them, without attaching meaning? Just observing with curiosity. What hasn't been resolved? What hasn't been completed yet? And just begin to notice, are there loose ends that are a little bit more triggering, have more tension or pressure, more emotionally charged loose ends? And are there loose ends that are difficult to look at, maybe? You'd rather keep them buried or suppressed. Are there loose ends that come with a bit of determination to get it done? Are there loose ends that make you feel hopeless? Or loose ends that give you hope? Just notice the energy or emotion that's attached to these different loose ends. And again, without them being in your space, just letting them be there, not taking up your energy, just observing them. Noticing anything that's attached to them. You can imagine these loose ends having some kind of a shape or a color. I'm just watching them. See what happens as you just observe them without the need to change them, without holding on to them, without suppressing them, wishing them away. Just letting them be. Letting you be. And if you do imagine them having some kind of shape or color, are there ones that stand out, that are bigger than others, brighter or darker, heavier or lighter? Are there any that you're holding on to in some way? Are there any that you're ready to let go and just watch them float away? And how do you feel about some of those loose ends floating away? Is it easy or difficult to let it go? And is there one loose end that stands out as something that you can complete, that's in your control? And can you commit to completing that loose end? And just notice as you commit to tying one loose end, if other loose ends are floating away now. Are you willing to let more of those go? So that you can focus on that one that you committed to. Put all your energy there. Without being held back by other loose ends that may not be in your control. What happens to all the loose ends when you commit to one? Putting all your energy on that one. To see it to completion. Now imagine stepping back into your glass elevator with your commitment to close one loose end. Feeling proud of the work you've done here and your commitment. And slowly rising through your heart center. Just noticing your environment now as you rise through your body. As you get bigger. Is it different than it was on the way down? Is there a new awareness? Are you experiencing this elevator ride in a different way? And when you get to your mind, step out of the elevator and look around again. Is the center of your mind different than it was before? Do you see anything differently? Are there different emotions or sensations to being here? When you're ready, just take a deep, rejuvenating breath, letting a smile form on your face, a way to reward yourself. And letting the experience infuse into every cell of your body, a new awareness, a new imprint, with new insights into every cell of your body, to making an imprint at cellular level. And slowly beginning the process of coming back from the meditation by noticing sounds in the room, smells or tastes, the feeling of your weight on the chair or the pressure under your feet on the floor. Giving yourself permission to come back, fully present in your body, in the room. You might feel the need to wiggle your fingers and toes or stretch, sway, whatever it is. Indulge in it. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And if you did write any loose ends as they were coming up, you can go through your list now and just cross out any that left during the meditation. And if none of them left, or if there's many left behind, then cross out any that are robbing you of a lot of energy. So giving yourself permission to let them go. And if you didn't write during the meditation, you can go ahead and write maybe the ones that are left. And just see which one has the most emotion or energy around it, and see if you can let it go now. Just making a conscious decision that it's not worth your energy, and that if you release them to the universe, it will be taken care of in a better way than you ever could. And then if there's any left on your list, or if you had already committed to one during the meditation that you were going to complete, just renew your decision to complete it. Put a star beside it. And create a plan, or schedule it in your calendar, or create accountability somehow by telling a friend or someone you trust about your decision to complete this. Reach out for support or whatever it takes to complete it. And just take some time to make notes of any thoughts or insights that might have come up during the meditation. And again, remember that it doesn't have to take 30 minutes to do this exercise. You can tune in through one breath of awareness. See what is consuming your energy right now. What is it that you're focused on that maybe is not the most productive, or not the most pleasant, not helping you in any way, maybe causing suffering, unnecessary suffering, just not serving you, not elevating you, and seeing if you can just let it go because it's just not serving you to put your energy there. So thank you again for taking the time to meditate with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day and week ahead.